Hey, what's up, guys? Story time number 7, re-uploaded. Alright, so first we're going to get into why I took down story time 7. So it was kind of targeted toward a person who I kind of befriended, kind of wanted to sleep with. And she said something nasty to me that was kind of fucked up, and I blocked her for a little while and made a video. But 2 months later, I unblocked her, and she messaged me, and she starts telling me, because she's bipolar, that people like us with bipolar say things we regret. And I went, all right. I met her in the psych ward, so I went, okay, healing and all that, I'll forgive her. But that was a huge mistake. I did have intentions of trying to get romantic with her, I won't lie. So I took down story time number 7 for that reason, because I didn't want her to see it. Because a friend of ours that was close to both of us watched my YouTube, and I didn't know if she was going to see it or not, so I took it down. And I didn't take it down because I was wrong. I was kind of nasty in the video. And I took it down because I was trying to sleep with this girl versus just taking it down for moral reasons. But you live and you learn. I took it down. I'm re-uploading this because this is just insane. So the person we're going to talk about, we'll call her Lucy. So not long after I slit my wrist, I'm in the psych ward, and I meet Lucy. And first thing that I realized, every time she tried to talk, every time I was talking, she would always interrupt me and start talking, but look me in the eyes as if saying, yeah, I'm doing it. But some women will do this, and then if you react, immediately gaslight you and go, no, that didn't happen. So I just kind of was like, whatever. I let her talk. First she goes, I'm a crisis counselor. And I thought, so she's an officer. She's a first lieutenant. And I went, you got time to be a crisis counselor? Okay. And she was very, very much, I'm a crisis counselor. Like if saying, look at me, everyone. Look how great I am. I'm a crisis counselor. She wasn't literally doing that, but that's the vibe she was giving off. And that was my first red flag. I went, First I went, all right, typical stereotypical attention-seeking female with mental health problems serving in the military. So she tells us that she has borderline personality disorder and bipolar 1. So we're in the ward, and we both kind of went through it, so you trauma bond. I made another female friend on the ward who I still talk to this day. But this one, like me, was just depressed and had PTSD. We both attempted. We actually both slit our wrists, so we're still great friends. In fact, on my road trip, I visited her, and she let me stay at her house. But Lucy, on the other hand, was a different story. So here's something about borderline personality disorder and why the military doesn't want anyone with a personality disorder. First off, they are compulsive liars. They lie just to lie. Second off, they love to cause chaos. They love causing chaos and hurting people. They love manipulating people and going after people. I don't want to target people with BPD like that, but that is the consensus. This is why the military doesn't like it. And Lucy fit this fucking memo like it was her personality. So, again, I would say she'd always interrupt me when I'm talking, like, okay, fuck me. And she would look at me and smile when she did it. Like, all right. I could probably already tell that she was probably causing problems in her unit. So she was in the soldier recovery unit in Fort Bragg. Okay. And she was a repeat offender of the ward. So she starts telling this story after she interrupts me about how she was dancing. There was some event where the company got together and she was teaching one of her soldiers how to dance, and their leadership said, hey, no. I don't want this. Now, she's a very fucking promiscuous one. I don't know if the leadership was aware of that, but they probably were. or they were just probably like, hey, we know this, where this may go. This may look bad. Don't dance. Well, she starts saying how this soldier of hers reminded her of her ex that she had in college in Washington. And she decided she was manic, all right? She was in a manic episode. And she decided to get her shit, get in her Subaru Outback, and drive from Fayetteville, North Carolina to Seattle, Washington to go see her ex, because she said that she was shifting realities and she thought that the only way to get back into reality was to just look at him and make sure he's real. So she goes AWOL and drives off. Then she gets caught in Montana. Check engine light comes on. She stops at a gas station. A cop sees her car, checks the license plate and goes, "Excuse me, ma'am, you know you're AWOL, right?" They apprehend her, and against her will, she was involuntarily committed to a psychiatric hospital in Montana. She was really bad, so from what she says, I don't know how shit works. This is what she claims. They stripped her naked and put her in a room. And she's telling this story with a smile on her face, like, yeah, this happened. Like, this is a normal fucking Tuesday. And then she explains how she had her period while there, naked in the room, and she painted a beautiful picture on the wall with her period blood. And she's telling it like, I painted this beautiful picture with my period blood. You know, on that state of mania, I was extremely energetic. She was singing and dancing, she said. And I'm sitting here going, wow. You know, man, I thought I had it rough being here. But you know what? I'm not her. And I'm happy about that. And I can only imagine the staff members that went in. Oh, what's going on? Oh, okay, so Lucy's painting a mural on the wall to period blood. Yeah, this is just how it is. Whatever. I can only imagine what she put that staff through. Like, holy fuck. So, I repeat offend. I go back to the psych ward. She repeat offends and goes back. She starts playing games with me. So, we were with a crew of people. They all leave, so it's just me and her. I would approach her, try to talk to her. She'd give me a cold shoulder. I went, all right, she doesn't want to be fucked with. So I walk away. And then the new people that came in were miserable, and there was no one to talk to. So I would kind of read the situation. I'd go up to her, see if she wanted to talk. She'd give me a cold shoulder again. I'd walk away. So I kind of got the message she wants to be alone. So I tried to give her space, but she was always alone on the patio and alone in the kitchen. And I'm like, all right, I'm a patient in this hospital. If she's walking around the ward, I can walk around the ward. If she's in that room, I can be in that room. Like, I have a right to be there. You don't just take these places over like, I need this because my struggles are more than you. Like, no. We're all there for the same reason. So I sat in the kitchen. I didn't want to talk to her. I was willing to, but I figured she didn't want to talk. I sit down, and she goes, so one of the nurses asked me if you were bothering me. And I said, nope, it's just Billy. And then I looked at her like, what the fuck? Then I thought, what do you mean? Like I'm retarded? Like I don't know the situation? Then I explained to her, I saw you were uncomfortable. That's why I avoided you. And then anytime I was in the kitchen and we would make a puzzle, she would get another dude to start insulting me and making fun of me. I began to get sick of her behavior. She also came up with this elaborate plan of how she was going to break out the psych ward. And I was getting sick of her games, her fucking woman drama. Everyone stop, look at me, I'm Lucy, I'm the star. I was fucking tired of it. So I did what Shoker does best. I fuck with people when they fuck with me. Way worse. Okay? I went up to her and I'm like, she's manic right now. I bet she's impulsive. I said, hey Lucy, you want to break out of the psych ward? She goes, yeah, let's do it. So I thought we were going to walk around the ward and like laugh and go back, and then I could make fun of her for this elaborate plan. Well, there was what's called one-to-one. When you're suicidal and you announce you're going to hurt yourself on the ward, leadership has to send a soldier from your unit to watch you. And we had an SFAB warrant officer there, and she had an SFAB captain there watching her. So the dude opens the double doors, and Lucy and I are walking towards them. The doors open wide. He goes out because he's got a phone call. As the doors are closing, Lucy starts walking faster. Then she starts running. And I went, stop, no, stop. And I wanted to chase her to like stop her, but I didn't want it to be seen that I was trying to escape. Perception's reality. So I stopped. Right before the door closes, she breaks out the ward. And to this day, if you go to 6 South, there is a piece of paper hung over the intercom system at the double doors that says, make sure the doors close all the way. Patients at high risk of eloping. That was because of Lucy. Not fucking joking. So she breaks out, and I see her run down the hall, so all the way down the hall, and then to the right's a stairwell. You know, you got elevators, she passed the elevators, went to the stairwell, and I thought, wow, she just broke out, and nobody's seen her. So I went to the front desk and said, hey, Lucy just escaped the psych ward. They're like, what? I said, I'm not fucking joking. A patient just escaped the psych ward. You don't believe me? Do a roll call. And then they're freaking out. They're like, holy shit. How? Because it just doesn't happen. So one of the guys said, don't worry, she won't get far. And I went, she made this elaborate plan. I didn't think she was serious. I was kind of messing with her. And then one guy went, why the fuck would you do that, dude? Come on. I went, yeah. Hey, she was pissing me off. Don't fuck with Shoker, man. Like, I'm a nice guy, but when you fuck with me, I take it over the edge. Don't fuck with me. Well, maybe over the edge is a bit of an exaggeration, but I'll take it further than you took it with me if you fuck with me. Whether that was right or wrong, that's what I did at that time. And I admit it was wrong. But I was on the psych ward. I was bored. So I tell them, listen, this is what she did. She ran down the hall. She's in that stairwell. You go down the hall, make a slight right to that stairwell. She's in that stairwell. And security couldn't find her for over 45 minutes. They finally found her. She comes back to the ward in cuffs with a smile on her face. And they take her and put her in the high-risk room, which is a single room, which is actually kind of awesome. I had to stay in there. Yeah, my leadership pushed me over the edge in the ward, so I had to stay in that room. It's nice. It's a single room. You're all by yourself. You don't got a roommate. You got better shelves. It's cool. As she's moving into that room, she goes, well, I'm grounded. And she's got a bandage on her wrist. So while she was in the stairwell, she found a piece of plastic and tried to hurt herself with it, but she couldn't cut deep enough. And then she snuck that shit on the ward because she knew that she wouldn't be caught with the metal detectors. And luckily she was on one-to-one, so one of the staff members picked up her robe and found it when she took it off to go take a shower. And yeah. She's cracking jokes about it. She sits down and I'm like, hey, please don't do that again. In the day room or in the kitchen. And I'm like, please don't do that again. And she was left on one-to-one that entire time. I was still kind of mad about the following thing. I read the cue. I went, all right, cold shoulder. Time to move on. She doesn't want to talk to me. And she would just do this, because that's what borderlines do. They love to do this. So I discharged from the hospital. I called her, said, hey, see if she wanted to talk. She didn't call me back. I went, all right, fuck it. I'm discharging. I'm at the Soldier Support Center, and we run into each other. I kind of didn't really want to see her because I didn't like... She was just a drama queen and very stressful to be around. I didn't want anything to do with her. So I started telling her about my discharge. I played the recording of my commander And she's like, oh, I know what the type she is. She's digging regulations to try to, screw you over. I went, yeah. And she's like, can I get your number? I went, sure. So I texted her. She agreed, hey, let's wait till we're both out so there's no risk of fraternization on you. I went, okay. I'm out. She's out. We start talking here and there. She goes back to a mental hospital. One dude that we were on the ward with that starts dating her. I went, okay, well, my chances with her are out, but I could be friends with her. And, I would talk to her. We had quite a bit in common. We're both from New York. But the more I talked to her, the more she kind of was off. I was really fucking traumatized from what happened to me. When I got out, I was cool. But when I got a hold of my medical records and I read what happened to me, I was fucked up. I actually, if you guys didn't know this, when I was with my buddy in Ohio, I put a gun to my head and I was going to end it there. But that's when I decided to start Cobra 1 and put my story out there for people to hear. And, I would just repeat over and over, I can't believe they did this to me. And then I got on the podcast with WTF Moments, and after the podcast, I remember I texted her. I don't know how many times I said it to her, maybe I said it too much, but I was like, I can't believe they did this to me. And she texted me back, Billy, I'm at my capacity with this. You need to go to therapy. And I lost it because I went to therapy and they fucked with me. So that kind of, I said, fuck you. There's only one way out of this. And then I blocked her. And then I was going to make a video as like my suicide note. And then I put my 45 in my mouth. And I was going to blow my head off. But even Ice told me himself, people were listening to my story. I couldn't just end it like that. So I backed out of it. And my buddy said, you got to push her out, man. She's toxic and she's playing on your emotions. I went, all right. 2 months go by. I went, she probably misses me. She probably feels bad. I'm going to unblock her. Then she messages me. Happy Thanksgiving. Merry Christmas. I went, oh, what's up? We start talking some more. And then she starts saying some wazoo shit. Whether it was true or not, in my perception, it sounded like she was going manic. And around this time, I was planning a trip to Fayetteville because I had just done a trip to Fort Moore, Georgia, and I made there in record time. And I went, man, Fayetteville's half the distance. I love Fayetteville. I could go back there. When she was saying all this crazy shit, I called her, and she had over one of the guys we met on the ward that she broke up with. And also, tell you about this guy. She called me and was telling me about how she doesn't want to be with him. Was she trying to come on to me? Like saying, hey, I want to be with you instead? That's how I thought at the time, but that could be wrong. I was a little fucked in the head from my experience, so I wasn't in the headspace to do anything. She begins talking about this dude in a negative way. I went, okay, whatever. Then she starts saying crazy ass shit about like the government. Shit that is kind of not normal. I went, I think she's manic again. So I asked her while she's with her friend, like, did she hand the phone to him to like say, like how your ex is fucking on speakerphone to let you know, hey, I'm with this guy? Was she trying to give that message? I don't know. I didn't really care to date her. I did want to fuck her, I won't lie to you. So I made story time number 7 around this time, and then I deleted it because I didn't want her to see it. So I asked her, hey, can I pay you a visit? I'm heading to Fayetteville. So I will admit, I had switched weekends. I moved it to the upcoming weekend, or whatever weekend it was. I moved it to one weekend back to go see her because I was really concerned about her. She says, yeah, sure. She gives me her address. I go down and see her. Start talking. She says, come over at this time. I went over at that time. She, we got into an argument and I wanted to say, hey, things weird between us, so I don't want to. And she says some fucked up shit to me, and I don't even fully remember what she said. From my childhood trauma, I block out fucked up things people say, I guess as like a response, a trauma response. And I left that house fucking crying. you know. Then I went to go visit Fort Bragg. I went to my favorite pawn shops, got some ammo like I wanted. And I got Girl Scout cookies, and I texted her, said, hey, can I, Well, first I had a freak out, so I called the crisis line. And then I texted her. She called me and said, no, I understand. It was a very intense conversation. Like, remember she said, I don't need you checking on me. I went, whatever. I'd rather come check on you and you not need it than... Like, she was downplaying the situation, but you gotta remember, she fucking went on a manic episode because she saw somebody that looked like her ex-boyfriend, went AWOL and drove from North Carolina to Washington, failed, ended up in Montana in a psych ward. I'm freaked out. I saw her break out the ward, so all this together and the crazy shit she was saying, I thought she was going manic again, and I thought if she saw me, bringing her back to reality would bring her back to reality. On top of that, she started talking to herself about overdosing on pills, and then I said, hold on now. And then she proved why I went there. I went, okay, I was right. I'm glad I'm here. I said, you ever overdosed before? It's painful. She was talking about how our friend who still lived in Fayetteville can take her meds from her. And I began to realize the way she was treating me. She was treating me like maybe I was a simp. Like I was less popular in her rank system of friends. I was lower on the spectrum while other people were higher up. I didn't like that. I didn't like the way she was treating me. And anytime I tried to bring that up, she would get violent with me. She would scream at me on the phone. She was just she just said fucked up things without thinking. Like a child. And that's how borderlines are. They're like children. So I do something cringy, and I deserve to be made fun of for this. I wrote her a love letter. I started losing my mind, and for those of you who follow my personal social media, I had a one-off manic episode. I'm not bipolar, but I do have complex PTSD. Fucking shit from Iraq I saw was messing me up, my past, all of it, and I lost it. And I was saving up money for a road trip, but I had money put away. I said, fuck it. Going on a road trip. I quit my job and I hit the road. I left in the middle of the day, and this is the same day I called her and I'm like, I'm sorry about this. And she was just making fun of me, berating me for the letter, and I was really fucked up. And anytime I tried to tell her to kind of stop, she would make up these excuses like, oh, I've done this when I'm manic. Like, I get that, but it's hurting my feelings the way you're mocking me, and I'd like you to stop. Anytime I would set boundaries like stop mocking me, stop saying this, it's upsetting me, she would come up with some elaborate page-long excuse as to why she can do it and why it's okay, versus just saying, hey, my bad. Women would go lengths to avoid accountability. She fucking, She started going off on me on the phone, and I freaked out. Well, first, before I tell you about that, she was dating a guy. She goes to Europe to a couple sex clubs, gets ran through. Brags to me about it. Then she tells me about a time when one of the guys took a condom off and had sex with her. She was upset about that. So I sent her a sweatshirt because I knew she was manic. When you go up, you go down into a depressive episode. It was that sweatshirt you see on Instagram called, hey, person in front of you, you matter or something. And I bought it for her. She texted me, thank you. And then during this phone conversation, I say, how do you like the sweater? And she goes, okay, so are you sure you're not just projecting your depression on me? This is how she would talk to me. Like, what the fuck? I spent money on you for a sweatshirt. I even bought her a cool clear tea kettle that you could watch the tea go from the bag into the water and make the water into tea like she wanted. She saw it on Instagram when I visited her. I bought it for her because she's my friend and I cared about her. But I was fucked in the head, and I kind of pursued her romantically to take my mind off it. Whether that's right or wrong, that's what I did, and it was stupid of me. And I'm glad she rejected me because she's fucking crazy and toxic. My parent, my father, every family member, all my friends say, you gotta stay away from her. She's trouble. And I finally started listening to them recently. But I do the road trip. She thinks I'm going to hurt myself, which, I'll be honest, I was planning on blowing my brains out somewhere on my road trip, but I didn't. And she kept trying to get my location. I knew what she was going to do. She was going to report me to the cops, but I was like, nah. She didn't. Then I ended up in Montana. I went to a town called Missaleusa. She recommended it because she was on a road trip and went there. So one day I called her. She was already mad at me because during the phone conversation where I'm talking about the letter, she's laughing at me. She's like, oh, my boyfriend's about to get in the car. Don't tell him about this. So one day I called her, and she's in Fort Campbell, Kentucky, fucking a dude. And I know this because she sent me a naked side photo of the dude's cheek with a Rakasans tattoo, and it was hilarious. Fuck this dude. And then she said, oh yeah, my boyfriend, we'll call him Tom, he won't commit to a relationship with me. So I'm like, all right, so you're seeing your options, sleeping around. But then it kind of made me think maybe she was dating him, because she said, oh, don't say anything about you liking me when he gets in the car. So I thought about the other guy from Campbell. I went, maybe they were dating and she cheated on him. And I'm still firm on that. So gets in the car and I start talking about the letter. Later she says, oh God, he was mad. And she said he had been in a previous marriage and was cheated on. And then I thought, wow, this woman is a sick piece of shit. She's probably cheating on this guy who's been cheated on before. Again, that's what borderlines do. They love to cause chaos. She also was desperately trying to remove her borderline diagnosis by going to civilian therapists outside the VA. The VA told me, you don't have a personality disorder. You have depression and PTSD, and now complex PTSD. They stood firm, you have borderline. And she went to these 3 therapists to try to undiagnose her condition, and by talking, oh yeah, no, I'm only in unstable relationships when I'm manic. Also, before the trip when I saw her, here's something else she did. Forgive me for going back and forth. I didn't script this. She fucking told me, she called me at 9 o'clock at night to tell me that she went to her ex's house, saw that there was another car in his driveway, and she was mad, and what she used to do is leave Hershey Kisses in his boots before work. She took a Hershey Kiss and put it on his car in the middle of the night, and she called me about it. This was around the time when she told me that. She also told me the crazy shit, and that's when I said, all right, I should go pay her a visit. She's going manic. So then I'm thinking, wow, she's fucking promiscuous. So I'm on the road trip. I'm in Montana. And she told me, yeah, I don't like you. And insulted me and made fun of me for the romantic letter. As I should be. That was fucking cringy of me. I will never simp again. I tell her I met this girl April. I want to see her reaction. All of a sudden, we're talking. She's on a road trip herself. She goes, listen, we've been on the phone long enough. Why don't you go be with April? I went, I said, Lucy, what's the matter? We always talk this long before. Listen, why don't you go be with April, huh? I went. Then she growls at me. And then I went, what the fuck? And then I realized something. Then I asked her a question. I said, hey, I'm going to Massachusetts. Where are you going? I have family in Massachusetts, and I was curious where she was going. She's like, what stadium? She's like, I don't want to tell you. I said, so obviously she's uncomfortable with her giving the location. First of all, she demanded my location and was tracking me my entire road trip after begging me to give her my location. And then she tells me, I'm afraid that you're going to pop up anytime, anywhere. And then I lost it. I said, Lucy, you're fucking crazy. This has been terrible from the start. You're needy and attention seeking. I'm blocking you on all social media platforms while I keep my phone number open. And then I unshared my location with her. And I said, listen, I got options. And she texts back, I'm glad you have options of other people to talk to, meaning mental health stuff. And I said, oh no, that's not what I meant. You know why these 2 dudes you're sleeping with won't commit to you in a relationship? It's the same reason I found out. And then the next day, I think it was either the next day or a little later in the day, I called her back to apologize because that was pretty fucking brutal of me. Then she goes, so what did you mean by that, huh? Then I went, oh, well, you see, you know how you're manic, yeah, and you get hypersexual and you fuck a lot, yeah. So what I was saying is that knowing that these 2 guys aren't going to date you because you won't be loyal. She goes, Yeah, I knew you were trying to strike a nerve. And I hung up the phone, and I laughed hysterically for about 5 minutes. That was toxic of me. But holy shit, was that funny. So anyway, we stopped talking. She goes dark. And then she finally calls me. I'm on my way back home. I had just passed through Fayetteville, and I was terrified of stopping there because I'm thinking, is this fucking bitch going to call the cops and say I'm stalking her? I just stopped there to get gas, and I flew out of there as fast as I could. I'm like, what the fuck? Like she tried to manipulate me by saying, I'm like, you were uncomfortable with me visiting you? She tells me, I'm like, then why did you give me your address? Well, I felt like I had to. She was so desperate to gaslight, manipulate me, and do anything, even if it didn't make sense. All right, never going to that bitch's house again. All right, cool. Like, what the fuck? So she calls me and says, hey, sorry I couldn't get back to you. I was manic. She said that she had to get admitted because she thought the CIA was after her for a future soldier program. I went, wow, almost like the crazy shit she was telling me, which is why I went to visit her. Now, she could be scared, didn't want to accept she was manic, and lash out at me for that. But still, that was fucked up, the shit she did. And she, we talked for a little bit before she went to yoga. I went, all right, you got to go to yoga. See you later. Then she just starts ignoring me altogether. I'm like, what the fuck's going on? First, we're talkative, then pushes me away. Talkative, pushes me away. And I'm getting tired of this shit. So then I see her hiking in a photo, and it all built up, everything. It was a repeating. I'll tell you, my little relationship with her, this friendship, it was bipolar. It was affecting my mental health. She was abusing me. She was making fun of me on the phone, playing on my insecurities. So I left a comment in a post. I said, hey, does Tom know that you flew 600 miles to sleep with a guy because you were thirsty? And then I left another comment. Hey, does Tom know that you went to your ex's house and left a piece of candy on his car because you were mad there was another car in his driveway? No, she didn't go out of her way. She was dog sitting, and her ex lived in the neighborhood, and, she did that. Oh, I deleted the comments, but it's the internet. I'm not going to deny them if they ever come up, whatever. But I did leave those comments and delete them. And I start telling her, send that tea kettle back. Send it back, please. I start asking her, kind of aggressively, but asking. You can't force someone to give something back that they gave to you, but I said, give it back. This was me taking control of things. I want nothing to do with her, and I'm like, give it back. Then so one day I start calling her back to back. She's like, well, I've been ignoring him. I'm like, yeah, I know. Why don't you read the messages I sent? And let me tell you something. I sent her nasty, horrendous messages. And it was wrong of me. I felt attacked by her, but no matter how much she attacked me, I made it worse. And I admit that I did feel justified to this day, but it was still wrong of me. She's mentally ill. I should have just cut the relationship like I did before. The lying. Like, don't lie to me. You do not lie to me and get away with it. I cannot handle liars. She was lying to me. She was playing with my mental health. She was playing with my heart. She would gaslight me. I'm like, what about the flirting that we did over the messages? Oh, no, we never flirted. I'm just a bubbly person. I went, maybe she is a bubbly person, but maybe she flirted with me. I don't know. So I said, send the tea kettle back. She's like, well, I don't want to pay for postage. I'm like, well, I wasted money on you. Wasting money on you was stupid. I said, you think I care about how you talk to your friends? If I set a boundary with you, respect it. But no, you got to come up with some convoluted lie. I said, Lucy, I don't need you in my life. And I just went off the rails, destroying her with words. And she went, are you happy? And yeah. I said, I hope I inflicted pain on you. She went, well, you didn't. It means I did. I said something very fucked up and nasty to her and hung up the phone, and she blocked me as she said she would. Well, I found an article. So, she deployed to Iraq for 10 days, give or take, a little while after I deployed to Iraq. And she was there for 10 days, and she was playing the Warrior Games, the Army Warrior Games, and she did really good, and they interviewed her, and they're interviewing her, and I should have read this article sooner, and I would have just cut her off. This woman is nothing but a fucking victim. And here's why. Here's what the article said. She said in the article, oh yeah, my mental health was bad. My boyfriend sexually harassed me, and it drove me into a psychotic break, and because of it, I had to return from Iraq early. And then later I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder. No, she wasn't honest. She was diagnosed with bipolar 1 and borderline personality disorder. And also, that is the most mental ill victim shit I ever heard. You didn't have a mental breakdown because your boyfriend sexually harassed you. You got yourself in a shitty relationship because that's what borderlines do. They have unstable relationships. You had a mental breakdown because you're mentally ill. Bipolar 1. You cannot be in the military with bipolar 1. You can go manic and lose your shit. She had a mental breakdown because of her mental illness. I don't know a single dude I met that got, or even some female soldiers I met that got sexually harassed, and it was so bad that they had to return from a deployment. Like, was the dude deployed with you? Wasn't even in the same fucking unit as you. Not defending the dude. The dude's a fucking prick. But at the same time, with how much she lies, because there's a thing with this woman. I'm not going to say that. That's fucked up. She lies a lot, so I can't trust a word she says. And her unit couldn't trust a word she says. And behavioral health couldn't trust a word she says. And she couldn't accept that no one would believe her lies. And it was traumatizing her. Instead of just accepting that you can't lie. Borderlines are immature. They're like stuck in their childhood. The way she would emotionally react to me. It's what borderlines do. I should have just ended it first, but I'm letting go. I forgive her, but I never want her in my life again. The way she manipulated me, the way she played me. This woman drove me to put a gun in my mouth. But I'm the one that put the gun in my mouth. But just like I chose to pull it out and let it go. She didn't force me to put a gun in my head. But her behavior is inexcusable, just like mine was. I fucking destroyed her with words. I antagonized her, and it was wrong of me. But at the same time, she would play these games and talk about me behind her back to her girly friends. Like, all right, you're 27. Keep doing it. Keep being promiscuous and acting like a horny teenager. And keep acting the way you do. Your friends are going to leave you because they're going to get tired of your bullshit. Then you're going to be alone. You're not going to have a family. Just a life full of regrets. That's my message to you, Lucy. But, she's going to do what she does, and I'm going to do what I do. Never going to talk to her again. Never going to try to get in contact with her again. Definitely not going to press anything. I want nothing to do with her. And I regret it. It was miserable the year I've been out of the Army, partially because of her. Just the way she would fuck with my head. But she's a victim. She's always attention seeking, trying to go out. Look at me, I'll never forget like what my one friend said. She said, dude, you gotta leave her. She's insane. I could see this ending up with you getting in trouble with the law because she seems like the manipulative type. I went, yeah. She's like, you know what she sounds like, Bill? I'm like, what? She sounds like she's a star of her own Netflix reality. And I laughed. I went, fucking crazy. And I went, yep. So I'm ending it, or I ended it already. She blocked me the way I blocked her, which I know pissed her off. And it's over now. It was fucked up, but if you guys ever get in this situation, don't antagonize, don't try to make it work, fucking leave. Doesn't matter if she's cute. She knows she's cute. She knows she can get dick. Leave. There's more women than men on planet Earth. There's plenty out there. And living in a big city like Philadelphia, where I currently live, trust me, there's more. And even when I was on my road trip, I visited my buddy in Cali. He said, let me see this chick. I went, dude, come on, you can do better. Not insulting her, that's what he said. And he's right. There's plenty of fish out there beyond him saying I can do better for whatever reason. You always have options. Don't get yourself in a toxic relationship that ends up with you locked into abuse. Don't do it. Well, this was story time number 7 re-uploaded. Thank you guys for listening. I made some mistakes. Never again. This is a life lesson. Checked out of this. Never happening again. Also, I do feel bad about the things I said, but you know what? I have a conscience. I'm going to grow from this, and I'm going to be better. Big things coming for Cobra 1. I'm going to be posting more. See you guys in the next one. Stay sexy. Stay beautiful. I love you.